I have Nozuko Poni, who's a program manager of Bertha House. Morning.
Morning, Kutunjani.
Mpilile siswami njani?
Okay, now.
Hey, Mrs. Spanglish, but andozibalisa ama-Spanglish ezinye izinto azathatshwa. Anyway, thank you very much for coming through. Bertha House, I know that it's not the first time Bertha House has been to Bush Radio, but for somebody who's tuning in now who doesn't know Bertha Foundation, how would you explain to that person?
Okay, so Bertha Foundation is the mother of Bertha House, but Bertha House is an activist hub based up in Mowbray. So umsebenzi wethu thina kuba provide a space to everyone in Cape Town who needs organizing, meeting, eventing space. So we have multiple or different spaces within Bertha House that allow for different kinds of events to be held. So you can hold a festival, you can hold a meeting, you can hold a workshop, you can hold even a seminar, like a 3-day seminar, multiple day seminar, and expanded bioscope, where you can show films. And then we have common space where we have arts events like music and performance events. But yeah, CE Activist Hub.
Okay, how is this space available though? Because I know that when it comes to having this space, money talks, and to a point where some people go like, okay, let me just cancel because I can't really find the venue that I want to.
Okay, so Space too is heavily discounted compared to what the market offers in Cape Town. So as I said, it's an activist hub, right? So activists in general don't make much money or don't make any money from from funders around organizing. So Tina, what we do is basically subsidizing or heavily subsidizing space to make sure that everyone can afford something. So you can get a space for as little as 90 Rand per hour.
Oh, yeah, so affordable.
Very affordable.
Yeah.
So we make sure that everyone can say, I have the ability to access the space. The other thing I forgot to mention when I was listing the things that we have at Bertha House is a restaurant. Even now, it's a place where you can get a meal for as little as 50 Rand. So yeah, what we're about is to make sure that the Wonke Umdu can find themselves at Bertha House. So those who have more money or can earn more money as in organizations, they pay slightly higher fees than everyone, but still heavily discounted. So we have different tiers of payments. So Abandu who don't make any money, like community organizations, and then we have mid-level and high-level organizations. So Wonkundu can basically access the space. If you have no money at all, there's still space for you. You can ask for a discount or for that fee to be waived completely.
Why such spaces are important, especially for different organizations, as you said, activism or activists, that want to hold certain things, they can use this space. Why such spaces are important for such talks or meetings?
I'm sure everyone who's listening knows now that with the higher things cost, the more challenges we face as society, the more challenges our country faces, and the larger the gap between the haves and the have-nots. It's more important that we create spaces that unite us instead of divide us, where people can gather, spaces that also deal with issues of the past or try to rectify issues of the past. So, because we know if you look at a Bertha House, you think only a few people were able to access spaces like that only a few years ago. So spatial injustice is a real thing. And at Bertha House, we believe in a radical hospitality, which means that anyone is welcome and can find themselves in that space. So ibalulekile ngokuba wonke umuntu abe access space esinjeyana, so that we rectify, may not be able to rectify it altogether, but I think small spaces where people can gather, where they can work, where they can get free Wi-Fi to look for work if they need, where they can collaborate with others who are able to help them within their journey of activism, where young people abafundayo can find themselves or find mentors or role models within that space. All of that is important because in order for us to get anywhere as a country, we have to first deal with the fact that there is a huge divide. There's a gulf between different classes in Cape Town, especially. We know that Cape Town is quite unequal as a city. but Bertha exists to say, you can find your space here. You can collaborate. You can create thinking partnerships with the people who are right next to you. For example, those who have been to Bertha will tell you that the person that you're sitting next to is likely to be the person that you need for your journey. So you'll find a student who's again, and then next to them there's a master student who has gone through the same journey, or you'll find like a startup or an NGO that's starting out, and then there's someone within the space who can help them with what they need. So it's kind of like an inner ete economy,
So where people can also network,
Exactly.
and making things a little bit faster. 061-862-1065. We're in studio. We have Nozuko Poni, program manager of a Bertha House, as well. We were talking about, having that space available to you so that you can be able to use it, as she highlighted, in the Cape Town is one of those cities. Don't want to go deep into details on that one. So now, obviously, having these spaces, there was an issue of COVID-19 to a point where everybody was going virtual. Bertha House, how did you? Was it an advantage, disadvantage during those times, and also how did you guys try to mess around with technology to see where it can take the organization?
Yeah, COVID-19. I think for no one, it was disadvantage for was an advantage for no one. A lot of people lost their lives and lost their livelihoods. But I guess the silver lining in the existence of Bertha House is that we we thought around space and how people can access space during that time. It's actually when Bertha House came alive, or was basically activated as a center. So we have a co-work space, which a lot of people, during COVID, they either lost their jobs or had to work from home. Now you find yourself struggling for internet. There's also load shedding, all these challenges that we have as a country. So the co-work space at Bertha House has desk space that organizations can access for free. And all they do in return is just give back to the space. And by giving back to the space, I mean giving back to someone in the space who needs something. So we also have, we have solar, so we're able to attend to the issue of electricity not being there, but also Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is for a lot of people. It's just a thing that you have at home, or you have data on your phone. But for a lot of people, you have to pay so much money to just get to see the job advert, or to apply for that funding as an organization. So how we worked around COVID was just extending space to those who don't have space. Bertha House is also a walk-in kind of center, so anyone can walk in. You don't have to register to use the space. You can literally just walk in and access our restaurant or the common working areas in the space. So that already rectifies the issue that you have to be home struggling for data for you to work, or you have to find like a proper office setup. You can walk in and find a spot where you can do whatever you would like to do online.
If you have just joined us now, we have Nozuko Poni all the way from Bertha House speaking to us regarding the space and also how can you be a part of it. So now, apparently, during the COVID-19 or after COVID-19, a lot of organizations had to close down. So I want to know though, I'm kind of like fact checking on my side with Bertha House, as you would have these activists come in or organization. Is it visible that the numbers is going down now after COVID-19, that people are coming to the space? As you see, some of the organization really, really did close down because of COVID-19.
I would say that there's actually been, there's been a surge in new numbers. So in new people coming in, new organizations that have not used the space before. There's also been a surge in like students accessing the space. I think people are recognizing that it's not only an activist space. It can also be for learners. It can be for just a walk-in. It's also been like the partners that have sustained us or have been with us throughout the years have kept coming. So there hasn't been a dip in the numbers. There hasn't been a time where it's like completely quiet, because the need for space is that big. And also with the launch of the community reserve, which I'm happy to talk about some more. The community reserve, which is I want to call it a fund that addresses access. So organizations that are based outside of Mowbray that would like to organize, meet, congregate or mobilize, but need space to do so, we provide that and we provide the resources to make that happen. So, in the form of actual eventing space that they get for free, we pay for the basic marketing, printing, design. We pay for catering for those events and transport as well. So anything basically that they need to make the events happen. So that has also helped us to see new organizations that would have not accessed Bertha House. So your township organizations, your Cape Flats that are far from the city center or from Mowbray that would have struggled with access. So we're taking away all those hurdles that make it hard for people to get to Bertha.
Are there any plans, to expand better spaces to other regions or countries? Do you envision the future
Ish.
of this network, or do you feel like, hey, I could see too much?
Because there are already Bertha spaces in other parts of the world. Like we have one in Postania, Turkey. We have in Berlin, most recently. Some of the Bertha spaces or in the ones that are in our network are also Philippi Village, that's based in Philippi.
Yeah.
We have Bertha Retreat, that's based in Franschhoek. That's more of a overnight stay kind of space where organizations can go and retreat and strategize over a number of days. It's also like one of those spaces where you walk in and everything else is taken care of, and all you do is take care of your content. So we have multiple spaces like that, but we do know that there's a need for more Bertha spaces because the need is that big, for that.
I want to know, to the spaces, the ones that are in the heart of the community, like the one in Philippi. How does the community embrace these spaces? Are they feeling like proud of it, taking charge? Because we have a tendency in the Cape Flats of when we protesting and all that, we destroy infrastructure, and all that. But now I want to know with this one, is there that pride of protection that, okay, this is our space?
So that space is a cousin space of ours.
Yes.
And we do hear amazing things, just support from the community, and the fact that the community themselves see themselves in the space and they see it as a resource, so they help take care of it. There haven't been any major incidents reported, but when they have come up in the past, which is also no surprise because a place reflects where it is, so you can't put a glass house in the middle of war and expect the glass house to be safe, But it's about coming into a space with sensitivity and so that people can see themselves and take pride in what you've brought in. So yeah, that's how we collaborate with communities. Even here at Bertha House, we ensure that even the suppliers that we use, the people that walk into the space see themselves so that they don't feel like intimidated by the space at all, so that they also take pride. This is the building that welcomes all, that I can find myself is right around the corner for me, for those who live in Mowbray or Athlone. So yeah, I think the trick about spaces such as ours is that people have to see themselves being part of it, being part of the building. So the partnerships that you create, the events that come in should reflect what you're trying to build as a space.
Okay, let me think in a bigger scale now in terms of a government. As Bertha House, how would you encourage, a government in saying that, what, such spaces are necessary in the country, especially for the future? Because as you mentioned that it gets used by students, it gets used by organizations. Why they're so important and we need them, We know that in South Africa we have an issue of land and all that, which is politics on the other side. But why is important, and also how would you advise, the highest office in terms of having these spaces?
I think before I get to the highest office, I would say that we have to first, as people who need the spaces, when they are there for us, we have to use them, because you can preach to the higher powers all you like, but if the ones that do exist are not being used, it means that you're building a case, you're not building enough evidence for your case to say that your spaces are needed. So when there are centers like Bertha House, people need to come, find yourself. Don't be nervous about who's going to be there. You're going to be there. There's enough space for you. Come organize, take up all these offerings, like the community reserve, for example. That is a reserve for people to apply for. If they want to have their own events, if they want to gather at Bertha, you don't have to even think hard. Think about what the immediate needs are in your community. That's where you can go and workshop them. That's where you can go and um, meet other organizations. That's where you can just attend events actually that are happening there to find yourself, so that um, while we wait for government to do to provide these spaces, the ones that are there are being used. I believe very much in um, making the most of what you have. And right now, our country is a youngish democracy, and that comes with its challenges. And we can point fingers, and we can go all the way, but we have to also just see what we do have, we must take care of, and also take it up, make use of it. So, message to the higher powers is make it snappy, I guess.
Queen, as we conclude our conversation with Nozuko, could you share with our listeners, how they can get involved or learn more about Better Spaces and opportunities it offers for activist impact groups?
Mhm. I think I first just want to reiterate what the community reserve is, because that's one opportunity that I think everyone needs, who's a collective that's organizing, anyone who's a musician or a, I don't know, a storyteller, a filmmaker. We have spaces at Bertha House. You lack the funds to get there, and we take care of that. So what we cover in the events is that your catering again. We cover your transport, so we'll fetch the people that you want to invite to your screening. Let's say you're hosting a screening for 60 people, we'll go fetch them to make sure that everyone is able to get there, that no one has to struggle with taxis or taxi fare. We'll take care of your printing, whatever materials you need for the session. We'll take care of the basic design for posters. We'll help you market your event as well. The only thing the few things that you need to first, the boxes you need to tick before you get there. You need to be an organization that makes 1 million or less in budget. So anything over 1 million, you can't assist, because you are well resourced. It's for people who are in need, and so the event also needs to be a social justice charged event. So one that is seeking to either solve some kind of social issue, and then the space itself needs to also just be one that is aligned with Bertha House. So Bertha, we are into, you know, we're into people first, the way that they are. I did mention earlier that we believe in radical hospitality. That means anyone is welcome, whether from what background, sexuality, gender, all of those things. We make sure that everyone is welcome in our spaces. So all the costs that I've mentioned that we cover, you get all of that, even the equipment to take care of of the sound of the space, visuals, and all of that we take care of. So all you need to do is complete a form, which we have on our Instagram. If you go on Instagram, there is a link on our bio which you can find community reserve and complete that form there. And then you can also email me, nozuko at berthaspaces.org. So that's Nozuko, Nozuko at berthaspaces.org. So Bertha is Bertha. Yeah.
Thanks, man. And again, it's called, it's uyayibona nje kuyabanda or Better Space.
How warm?
Yeah, or
I like it.
accommodating it is. Is it accommodating?
It's very accommodating. We have aircons. We have warm meals being served in our kitchen. It's just a warm space in general. Like you really find the most. What's in Ubele, Africa, like it's the warmest place in its people, but also in just that we take care of the interior to make sure that the woman who's there is able to find a desk, a chair. Also, it's just warm inside there.
Since Nozuko, before I let you go, thank you, Nozuko Poni, for joining us today and sharing insights into Better Spaces and its mission to empower activists through collaborative, inspiring spaces. So I want to know quickly before we let you go. Any last words?
Last words are Bertha House is only a building if you're not there. So I invite you all to go to number 66 to 69 Main Road, Mowbray. On any day of the week, we open Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5:30, and then on Saturdays we open 10 until 4 o'clock. On Mondays we open until late. Actually, we open until 8:30. So if you want to host events in the evening, you can host them during that time as well as Wednesday. That's also our longer hours. So we close at 8:30. So it's a building if you're not there, and all these opportunities that you can find there are only just thoughts if you're not there to exercise or to take them out.
Last one now. Words of motivation for our listener. Can be one word, can be a sentence, can be a phrase, up to you.
One word of motivation to our listener. I'll tell you something that was said to me when I needed it, is that you are your biggest investment, and you need to find people who think like you, or who challenge you in order to reach your destiny. So yeah, but also come to Bertha. I always close with that.
I won't add any further. Nozuko, thank you very much for being part of the show.
Thank you for having us.
Sweet. It's time for the news headlines.